Hey everyone, Xeon over here from Nintendo Life, and today we come to you with some potentially exciting news. So Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition, the remaster, if you want to call it, for the Nintendo Switch of a classic, well-loved Wii U game is now available, and we gave the game an incredibly glowing review if you haven't checked it out already. And in that review, we stated that Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition runs at 30 FPS, pretty solid. It has some little frame drops here and there when you're really tossing around the camera, or you've got a lot of enemies on screen, or in a heated battle. But otherwise, it's pretty smooth at 30 FPS. And now, even though the game just launched, a modder by the name of Masagrado R found in the code of the game that there is actually a hidden 60 FPS mode. Now, this mode isn't something that you can just go turn on with your own Nintendo Switch. You can't just activate this in the settings or something like that. No, Masa found this in the back end of the game, basically. And now they haven't been able to get it to run perfectly. It has a lot of weird issues, apparently. But what this has us thinking, and I imagine has a lot of you thinking about, is what does this mean for Switch 2? When the Switch 2 Direct comes and goes, are we going to learn that a bunch of games now have kind of game boost features, almost like some PlayStation 4 games have into PlayStation 5. Will Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition run better on Switch 2? Can't say for certain right now. I'm not the modder who discovered this. You know, we're all just going based on information that we've read online here. But it's sounding possible, especially in a world where you have things like Sekiro on PlayStation 4. When that game released, I believe it ran at 30 frames per second on an original PlayStation 4, but it was uncapped when played on a PlayStation 4 Pro. And then when you transfer that over to a PlayStation 5, it also runs uncapped. So it runs at basically a smooth 60 FPS from what I've heard. So why couldn't Nintendo allow something like that for their own developers or third parties if they would like to support something like that? Maybe when the Switch 2 rolls around, we're just going to find that a bunch of our old games just run better. Can you imagine a version of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet that just runs at a smooth 30, 60 FPS, the characters in the background aren't moving at 5, 10, you know, the environment looks better. Oh my gosh, what a world. Alex has some of his own thoughts on this matter though, so let's bring him in.
It is possible that Xenoblade Chronicles X will not be rendering 60 frames a second, but instead it will be interpolating, so the game will still be running at 30, but it'll be adding in extra little frames between each one that it genuinely renders. You know that horrible smooth motion thing that you get on TVs? Imagine that, but good. It's as simple as that. This would be really good as well, because it means there would be no compatibility issues. If anything in the game is tied to the frame rate, such as physics, which is possible, then this would mean that you'd be able to get your extra frames without the physics going up the wazoo. Back to you, Xeon.
Xenoblade Chronicles X already looks amazing on the base Switch, but seeing that game at 60 FPS without any sort of pop-in, it's a dream. And it honestly might not be too unrealistic, especially with information like this. Now, of course, we'll leave a link in the description down below to this tweet so you can go reference it yourself. Our writer Ali also managed to put up a little piece about this on nintendolife.com as well, so we'll leave a link to that too. So with that being said, what do you make of this? We don't really like to cover rumors on the site that often because we don't want to get your hopes up for things, you know? But it's hard to look at something like this and not dream of the future and not see the potential in it. The Switch 2 is potentially right around the corner as well. The April 2nd Nintendo Direct is merely weeks away. Hopefully we'll get more information about it then. But this all just would make a lot of sense. So let us know a game in the comments down below that you'd like to see get a big performance boost on the Switch 2, whether that's a resolution boost, a frame rate boost, just more detail in the general game and the environments. Let us know what you'd like to see boosted on the Switch 2. And of course, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more videos like this, then why don't you boost that subscribe button and then ring that notification bell to be notified whenever we put up a new video. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm Xeon from Nintendo Life. Stay safe out there, and we will see you all next time.